You fought well yesterday. Your style is unorthodox.
Good morning, Yankees universe, and welcome back to another episode of the Yankees Morning Brew on this Thursday, November 21st. Like always, I'm your guy Hector, joined by my compadre this morning. I got the lovely Grace Monroe. Grace, how are you feeling on this beautiful Thursday?
I'm feeling good, Hector. I want to point out to you my new American, okay, I'm backwards. I'm not Vanna White here, but American League Champions pennant, baby, 2024. And I got my new t-shirt, American League Champs 2024. So count it. Right. The merch arrived. I'm feeling good. How are you?
I'm good, man. You know, the off season is here. There's a lot of crazy taste that's been happening. Before we get into any of that type of baseball talk, I want to take a second for us Yankee fans to give a shout out to Luis Hill, Rookie of the Year. The last time, Grace, just for context, the last time the New York Yankees had a pitcher win Rookie of the Year. Do you know what year that was, Grace?
Oh, I heard it the other day.
1981. Dave Righetti in 1981 won Rookie of the Year with the for the New York Yankees. Luis Hill is the 10th Yankee, joining a pristine list: Aaron Judge, Derek Jeter, and now Luis Hill over the past 30 years. Those are great names. And
bro, we weren't even alive.
No, we were. Listen. My text messages were going crazy. But one thing I want to say is that, you know, the one criticism that people have been laying out there when it comes to like Brian Cashman as the front office is they cannot develop players. They cannot develop any pitching at the major league level. Well, guess what? Luis, we got for a trade with Jake Cave with the Minnesota Twins. We were able to turn Luis Hill into what he is right now. Now, let's see if he takes that next step, right? It's good to have a great rookie season. It's good to hit the ground running. There was a lot of pitchers that did that, but never was able to continue that success, if you know what I mean, Grace.
Yeah, I think something that's important to remember is the structure of front offices and what you have to do to continue to have a successful organization year in and year out because of the new luxury tax thresholds and the Cohen tax and all that has changed. Okay, so let's remember that when George was doing it, he didn't need a good farm system necessarily anymore. He could go out and buy whoever he wanted. And continually the Yankees were in the postseason, and continually they were earning pennants, and they were earning trips to the World Series and World Series rings. Okay, so he didn't care necessarily, and that fell by the wayside because the way that George was running the pirate ship was working just fine. Okay, so then of course it changed, right, with the luxury tax and the new age of TV rights and the new age of merchandise and the new age of everything else. Now it's changing, and farm systems becoming more and more important to the Yankees, specifically where it hadn't been in the past. And they are making strides to strengthen the farm system, and it is strengthening.
Yes.
So let's just keep everything in perspective. Not you, Hector. I'm saying everybody out there.
No, I get it, right? And that's why, of course. I was having the conversation, and shout out the chat. Let me shout out the chat before I give my take. My guy Jonathan is in the building. The fly guy, Jonathan. How you doing? Good morning, good sir. Mike Perez is in the building. Salute to you, Mikey P. D's channel is in the building. Shout out to D's channel. My guy Jacob Petruzzi's in the building. Shout out to the real statistician out there on Yankees Twitter. That's Jacob Petruzzi. But Jacob says shout out to Hector, Damien, Grace, Ghost, and the rest of the Uptown Sports TV familia. Jacob, shout out to you, my guy. Stephen B is in the building. My guy Kev NYC 85 is in the building. Kev, how you doing? And of course, the lovely girlfriend is in the building. How you doing, Alex? Shout out. Make sure guys show some love to my girlfriend. And like she says, Uptown Sports TV chat guidelines: no hate speech or bullying. If you violate the terms and services of our guidelines, you will be removed from the chat without warning. This is intended to be a safe space. We are just here to talk sports and have a good time while talking sports. But going back to the prospects, I was having the conversation, and Jacob was there as well on Twitter Spaces yesterday. I get it. Not every prospect is gonna hit, right, Grace? Like we understand that prospects are like lottery tickets. You know, you just pray you have the golden one. You just pray you have the one that hits the money. Right. But when you look at, let's say, the past, since Aaron Judge has came here, right? Let's 10 years, right? Let's look at the past 10 years.
Oh my God, 10 years flew by. Okay, go on.
I like 10
that. 10 years. Oh my God. Okay, go on.
It's 24 right now, 2024, right? Oh my God. Prospects that we have produced. We got to start off with Aaron Judge, most likely going to win the MVP award when it's announced later today. 2-time reigning MVP. That's one. I get it when it comes to Miguel Andujar, when it comes to Clint Frazier, when it comes to these other guys, they never panned out. I understand that. But we cannot sleep on the fact that Gary Sanchez was an all-star for a couple of seasons. Luis Severino was an all-star. Did they continue what the Yankees thought they would be and what us fans thought they would be when it comes to their career? Absolutely not. No. But the building block, the base block, when we got those kids, we thought we were set for the next 10 years. We thought we had our new core four, right? Injuries happen. Some major league players, they hit a high when they first hit the scene, but then they fizzle out. Like, that just happens. It happens not just in baseball, it happens in basketball, it happens in the NFL. It's how you pivot and move forward, right? When it comes to the Rule 5 and the winter meetings, the Rule 5 draft, the Yankees, especially Brian Cashman, have been known to go into that Rule 5 and pick some decent pieces. You could get some decent pieces out of that Rule 5 draft. Doing with December coming up with Latino Sports, we do the 21 days of Roberto Clemente leading up to his birth, leading up to the day that he passed away in December. So when you look at it, the Rule 5 draft, a lot of people don't know, Roberto Clemente was a Rule 5 draft pick, right, with the Pittsburgh Pirates. So you never know who you can get out of that Rule 5 pick. But to your point, Grace, when you're a team that's, you're always competing, you're always up there when it comes to wins, 94 wins, 90 wins, 96. You don't give your team a chance to pick early in the draft because you're never in that position to pick early in the draft. And now when you put the luxury tax into it, you get a penalty. If you're in that threshold a few years in a row, you move back in the draft as well. So when you're a team that has that many restrictions put on you, and you're able to still consistently build the team that can make it to the playoff year in and year out. I know some fans, they don't care about participation trophies. I understand that. I get that. But the foundation that we have built going forward, I do think the Yankees do have a foundation that will last over the next 5 or 6 years, you know. And of course, Juan Soto is a part of that. Go ahead, Grace.
Absolutely. I think that's a great point that you made about the draft picks, that people don't put enough weight on the draft picks and how much it affects the prospects you have and the farm system that you have rolling. I think let's not forget about Anthony Volpe, the golden boy, right? I mean, Anthony Volpe did not go to college. Anthony Volpe has been truly a product of the Yankees farm system from jump. He came in young and he has made his way all the way up to the major league level, won a Gold Glove his first year, was in Gold Glove talks again this year. He's only been in the league 2 years. Both years, top Gold Glove finalist for shortstop. I'm not even talking about some, lame defensive position. I'm talking about shortstop, okay? And, we know about his offense, coming around and everything, but there was a time he hit leadoff for the New York Yankees, and that's big. That's big. Coming in as a rookie and then your sophomore year. I mean, I know people have mixed feelings about Anthony Volpe, but let's not sleep on him. Also, Michael King. I know he doesn't play for the Yankees anymore, but let's talk about Michael King and how much trade capital he gave us. We got Juan Soto because of our farm system success with Drew a player Thorpe. Like Michael King. Drew Thorpe as well. We only had him for a hot second, but hey,
we used him in the Juan Soto deal, and then San Diego was able to use him to bring back a pitcher as well.
Exactly.
Sorry, Grace, go ahead.
No, that's a great point, Hector. Jump in anytime. But yeah, that is yeah, I will defend. The farm system, where it's headed. And let's wait to see. You can't judge it right now necessarily, but Jason Dominguez is going to be another true product of the Yankees farm system. Drafted when he was so young. He's still so young. Let's please talk about this. Boy is 21 years old. He is a baby coming up. And he will be a true product of the Yankees farm system when he's done. Didn't go to college, just been in the Yankees system. So let's see how that goes, you know? So
I'm right there with you, Grayson. I want to shout out the chat as well as we continue. Double A is in the building. My guy, Double A. Listen, Double A, I'm excited for today, right? Not only because I'm talking Yankee baseball with one of the best co-hosts that's out there, my friend, my bestie, Grace Monroe, but also Double A. I am here to tell Double A and the folks that are in the chat that have been asking and begging me to come back with a Knicks show on the channel. And we have a show that will be debuting later on tonight at 6:30 p.m. Knicks and Fuego. All right, make sure you check out the timeline. We'll be dropping some promos for it, but there's a Knicks show, Knicks and Fuego, Knicks pregame report will be live today on the channel at 6:30. Make sure you guys tune in. But I want to shout out more people in the chat. The Ace Avenue, shout out my guy Ace with a $2 super chat. Ace says Uptown Sports, one of the best channels on YouTube, and I'm a piggyback off of that. Make sure you guys follow my guy Ace, an amazing channel, great human being that does amazing content when it comes to covering the Yankees. I know it's the off season right now, but he's still pumping out that good content over there. Make sure you guys go and follow my guy Ace. Also, we got over 100 people in the building, right? Watching us collectively, whether you're on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, click the link in the bio, jump on over to YouTube, smack that like button, hit that subscribe button. But there was a comment that I wanted to bring up. Okay. Mike Perez made a great comment, right? And said, Cashman and Howe, they have a big mountain to climb. They have a few holes to fill. And that sentiment can be spread all across baseball, especially with the teams that are rumored to be in the Juan Soto sweepstakes. When you look at the Yankees, yes, we have holes, right? Gleyber Torres, he's most likely gone. What are the Yankees going to do with second base, right? Are they going to move Jazz Chisholm to second, go out there and get a third baseman? What are we doing with our first base position? Who's going to be our first base spot, right? Our first baseman, right? I get that. The Yankees, they have some holes to fill. The New York Mets have some holes to fill as well, right? Is Pete Alonso coming back? What's the situation with third base and second base? Are you moving Mark Vientos over? Who is your day one pitcher for opening day? Because Kodai Senga last year, besides the postseason, Kodai Senga only pitched 5 innings the entire season, right? So who are you going to throw out there to pitch you games? So every team has a lot of holes. The Toronto Blue Jays, they have holes. The Boston Red Sox, they have holes, right? So the one team, and I hate to say this, the one team that you could say may not have a hole, right, is the LA Dodgers. That's the one team that you can say they don't have a hole that are in the rumors when it comes to Juan Soto. But I get it, right? I understand there's a lot of stuff that people are throwing up against the wall. Just one more time before we end the conversation. Again, shout out to Luis Hill, being the 10th Yankee to win Rookie of the Year alongside Derek Jeter, Aaron Judge, and now Luis Hill in 2024. Just want to give him some flowers before we continue, because now we got to get into it. We got to get into the Juan Soto conversation. And all you Yankee fans with all these crazy takes that's been on WFAN, that's been on Twitter, that's been on different Yankee channels. Shout out to all the different Yankee content creators who mental health is taking a drastic fall because we're all talking about the Juan Soto conversation. This is a conversation that never gets old. But before I continue, shout out to my brother TC Stills, my man Pots and Pan. TC Stills is in the building. We are Swiss cheese with all the hoes. Shout out my guy TC Stills. LI Yankee King, my brother LI Yankee King. Although I don't want to talk about the hoes debate. We don't have as many hoes as people think. Shout out to LI Yankee King, who's always going to be entertaining in the chat. Anthony Medina, mi hermano de la isla. Anthony Medina, I hope all is well. Salute to you, fam. Most love, definitely. Shout out to you, Anthony Medina. Nosebleed section said Dodgers have holes in the outfield, Hector. That's why they're in on Juan Soto. No, definitely, but the least amount of holes we could say are the Dodgers. And then my guy Joey Bagadonis, my guy Joseph Caputo from the shift. Joe, how you doing, you sexy bastard? And Joe says talking about Soto every day is exhausting. And now we got to get into it, because the mental gymnastics, Grace, that I've been seeing from some Yankee fans online trying to come to the conclusion or the consensus that Juan Soto is not a great player and he does not deserve that amount of money? Grace, let them know why you don't like Summer Yankee Universe. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. Go ahead, Grace.
It's giving. I didn't want to go out with her anyway. She's ugly. That's what it's giving to me. It's like, hey, you want to go to prom? No, I'm already going with someone else. Oh, I didn't like you anyway. That's what it's giving to me. Okay, stop coping already. Like, if Juan Soto goes somewhere else, he goes somewhere else. Okay, we can cope then. Yeah. Don't start pre-coping or whatever you're doing. That's what it's giving to me. It's giving the vibe of we're not the New York Yankees. It's giving the vibe of, we're the Tampa Bay Rays or Texas, that I don't know, somebody else, some other franchise that doesn't have the pull to get top players or the ownership that wants to get top players or the money to pay those top players. That is not our situation at all. So stop coping already. Juan Soto has not decided to go somewhere else yet. When or if he does, we'll deal with it then. But trying to soften the blow for yourself by saying, oh, he wasn't that good anyway. We could spend the money in other ways better than wasting it all on this guy, so that when he goes to the Mets or if he goes to the Mets, you can be like, we didn't even want him anymore. Shut up, okay? And I'm not even just talking about how amazing Juan Soto was. I'm talking about the duo between Juan Soto and Aaron Judge. And I've said this before, the Ruth and Gehrig 2.0. That's what we need to keep together, okay? So when you're looking at the Juan Soto picture, you're not just looking at Juan Soto. You're looking at the Soto-Judge duo. Plus, he's so young that you are securing your franchise's future beyond Aaron Judge, beyond Garrett Cole, beyond all those people, beyond the old, I don't want to say old, but the current core. Okay, you are building the new core. That is your job, to look into the future. And furthermore, what I wanted to bring up, and I was thinking about this morning because I think it was, and excuse me if I'm saying the wrong person, I believe it was Dan Patrick who said that Juan Soto is not a box office draw. And I think that was Dan Patrick. If I'm saying the wrong person, please.
No, it was Dan Patrick.
Okay.
I still have it on the back of my head. I was waiting for today. Go ahead, Grace.
Tell me you're out of touch without telling me you're out of touch. Tell me you don't know anything about young baseball without telling me you don't know anything about young baseball. And let me bring up one moment. And if you know, if you watched all the games, you remember that game against the Detroit Tigers, the Little League game, right? Remember that shot of Juan Soto at the plate doing the shuffle, and what was happening behind him in the stands?
All the kids and everybody was doing the same
Everybody
thing.
was doing the shuffle. All the kids. I'm talking about the future. I'm talking about young baseball fans growing up to use money at your stadium, to buy your t-shirts, to come see your games, to support you on TV, everything else. That's what I'm talking about with Juan Soto, okay? So that guy is just way off with that take. I had to bring this up for y'all. I know y'all remember that moment that I'm talking about, and it's crazy.
No, I'm glad you did, Grace, because that was something that I wanted to talk about, right? And the group chat I have with Latino sports is crazy because I have a lot of old school journalists, like 60, 70 years old, that were just ripping Dan Patrick to bits in the chat.
Well, I mean, sorry, but
but the one thing I want to say, when it comes to Juan Soto, Grace, you hit that right on the head. For people that don't think Juan Soto is box office, it can sell tickets and jerseys. What have you been watching baseball? Do you not understand how important Juan Soto is to the Latino community, to the Dominican community? He is the #1 Dominican player in baseball right now. When a couple of weeks ago, when they had the you guys don't follow Caribbean baseball, but in the Dominican Republic, there's a big they have independent leagues. They got Licey and they got Los Aguilas. Those are the two top teams. Those are basically like the Yankees and the Mets. It's a big rivalry. They played in Citi Field, and all of the journalists that were there, right? All of them had the same consensus saying if Citi Field, if the promoters were able to show Juan Soto that they can pack Citi Field with over 40,000 screaming Dominicans, that's an easy way to sell Citi Field to Juan Soto. They only had 31,000 people at the stadium, and half of those people didn't show up to an hour late because of the transportation to Citi Field. Is what people do not understand. Well, I live in Washington Heights, in Dyckman, in Inwood, right? I live in Little Dominican Republic. It is it takes me 10 to 15 minutes to get to Yankee Stadium. I jump in an Uber, I'm at Yankee Stadium like that. If I take the train, even if I take public transportation, I get to Yankee Stadium in 20, 25 minutes. If I take the train from where I live in Washington Heights, in Inwood, in the heart of Little DR, to go to Citi Field, it takes me an hour and 15 minutes. People aren't trying to do that every day to go watch a baseball game. So it's hard to sell Juan Soto that. The flip side to it, I see a lot of people saying that the New York Yankees, they don't have the money in the pockets. Well, it was just reported the New York Yankees profited $679 million. The number one team in baseball, $679 million. Let me zoom in on the 679. $679 million is what the Yankees' profit was for last year.
Bye.
Right?
Bye.
The next team was the Dodgers at like 550. So the Yankees eclipsed the Dodgers by an extra 120 million. Do you know where the Mets were on that list, Grace? Do you know where the Mets were on that list? They were 10th. You know who was ahead of them?
Oh, that's so cute.
The Seattle Mariners were ahead of the New York Mets.
Oh, no.
Again, no shade to Mets fans, right? But, if the conversation would be different, Grace, if this was 5 to 6 years in the future and Steve Cohen had that casino built around Citi Field, those luxury apartments built around Citi Field, it's a different conversation. The Mets have been operating in the negative ever since Steve Cohen has taken over. They have been operating in the negative. I don't care how much money he has. Grace, there's not many billionaires that are taking their personal finances and are dumping it into their business so they can operate a business. That doesn't happen. What is happening is that the money that they're using to operate the Mets are coming in from revenue that the Mets generate, but they're bringing on debt as well. They're accumulating debt. The Mets this past season, they accumulated 10% of debt from what they initially purchased the Mets from. That is not sustainable. I don't care how much money that man has. It is not sustainable.
Yeah, because everyone is thinking like a fan. And I get it. We're all fans. That's why we're here. That's what we're here to vibe on, okay? None of us know the inner workings of any of the front offices, okay? I get it. However, you're thinking like a fan with your uncle's money, okay?
Yeah.
And that is just not the way that business is done. Cohen is not going to write a $700 million check out of his own personal checking account, okay, to go get Juan Soto if it's a bad investment in his business. He still has partners, boards, everybody else he has to answer to who they have to turn a profit eventually, right? That is business, okay? So if Juan Soto is worth more money in potential return to the New York Yankees, which we've already shown with your graphs, Hector, that you threw up on the screen, that the Yankees make more money. So if that piece of capital is worth more in potential return to the Yankees than potential return to the Mets, then the Yankees are going to spend more money on it because the Yankees haven't gone into the red, okay, in 100 years, okay?
Yeah.
I mean, they wouldn't pay these people these contracts if it wasn't worth it for a return on that investment, okay? So even Shohei Ohtani, who's got currently the biggest contract of all time, right? The Dodgers said to themselves, listen, I know this is a huge number. However, as the LA Dodgers, we're about to make this much. If we pay this man this much, and I know it's a lot, we're going to make this much. The Yankees are going to do the same thing with Juan Soto. And the Mets stand to make less money off of Soto than the Yankees. That's just a matter of fact because we have more fans, because we go global, because we steady are in the postseason. I know they were in the postseason last year. That's cute.
Yeah.
We are steady in the postseason. We are going up every year. And we will make more money off Juan Soto than the Mets. We will sell more tickets than the Mets.
Definitely.
Period.
Definitely. I want to shout out my guy, Cheesy Soul Cakes in the building. He says, good morning, fam. Blessed day. Soto to the Mets, baby. Shout out to Cheesy Soul Cakes. Cheesy, just so you know, we're restarting the Knicks show later on tonight, 6:30. Make sure you tune in. Knicks and Fuego will be on the channel. Make sure you lock in. Shout out to my guy, Cheesy Soul Cakes. Even though he's a Mets fan, it's still love over here. And also, if you like food, follow him on Instagram because he really do be chefing it up. Look at that profile pic. He be having some nice dishes. Shout out my guy Cheesy Soul Cakes. But no, I just wanted to bring this up, right? Just to piggyback because it's as baseball fans, we get lost in our fandom, right? We need to remember that it's a business at the end of the day. Every aspect of the sport is business, from watching the game to buying stuff at the stadium to the off season to the agents, how they handle the negotiation. It is all business. And I bring that up because Jon Heyman, right? Much respect for Jon Heyman. I know he had the arson judge thing and stuff like that, but people have been beating up on Jon Heyman, saying he's just throwing stuff out there. What people have to understand, Jon Heyman, he has a close relationship with Scott Boras, right? This is how the agents manipulate the media because teams, right, GMs, they have to follow the players union, collective bargaining agreements. Teams can't say, I'm not interested in this play. Legally, the Yankees legally cannot say, I am out on Juan Soto. Legally, the Yankees can't. That's why Brian Cashman said, we'll see what happens when it comes to Gleyber Torres, because Brian Cashman can't be like, well, I'm not talking to Gleyber Torres, because now what you're doing is you're devaluing him in the market, right? So there's a clause in like the union that teams can't do that. But what is not in the union is agents manipulating the media, because the agents can go out there and say, my client, I've spoken to this team, that team, this team, and that team. The team can't come back and say, we never spoke to you, because now you're devaluing that player's value in the marketplace. Now you're subject to a fine from the Players Association. So with Jon Heyman doing what he's doing, I want to play this video real quick with Jon Heyman talking about Juan Soto and the Phillies.
I wonder if Philly is the town for him. I think he likes the organization. He likes the team. They do spend. They do want to win. So, I think they're happy to do the meeting, happy to consider it. Can't blame them. I wonder.
Now, and like, Hector, why did you play that? There's a method to my madness, right? When the offseason first started, the first thing that came out there when it pertained to Juan Soto was meeting with the Mets and Steve Cohen. That was the first thing. Then Jon Heyman put it out there that the Dodgers are going to be involved in the Juan Soto sweepstakes, right? The Dodgers didn't bite heavy on it, right? So after you couldn't get the Dodgers to bite and you only have the Mets and you're trying to negotiate and up the asking price, if you're Scott Boras, what do? You call up the Blue Jays, who not only are a rival to the New York Yankees, they have the second richest owner in all of Major League Baseball. So you get the Blue Jays involved. You get the Red Sox involved because, hey, fuck the Yankees. It's the Red Sox at the end of the day, right? You get them involved in the conversation to put the pressure on the New York Yankees to try to get the most money. Now that they had these meetings, now that Howard Steinbrenner has come out there and said, I'm willing to do what I can. We are in a different place this year than we were last year when it comes to contracts. Now, all of a sudden, you go get the Mets rival, the Phillies, who got eliminated by the Mets, to up the asking price. This is all negotiation tactics. This is all smoke and mirrors. When it's all said and done, if the contracts, if the money is all the same from every team, the Yankees have the chance to give Juan Soto the best opportunity to make the most money off the field. Not the New York Mets, not the Phillies, not the Toronto Blue Jays, and not the Boston Red Sox. That's the New York Yankees. There's a reason why when Derek Jeter was with the Yankees, his commercials played in Boston. Manny Ramirez commercials didn't play in New York City. even though he was from Washington Heights. Go ahead, Grace.
Yeah, great point. Great point. I think that's a really great point to bring up about making the Mets up there, putting pressure on the Mets by introducing the Phillies into the conversation. Because I've heard a lot of Yankees fans say, you know, where'd Philly come from? This is out of nowhere. Well, it's not really about you. It's about the Mets getting them to sweat a little bit, right? Everybody is saying, well, the Mets are going to use the most money, blah, blah, blah. So there's no pressure on Scott Boras per se, right? Even this crazy rumor that Scott Boras is going to make a $50 million offer over the next highest bid. And I put on my Twitter, I think you retweeted it, and I was like, yeah, he may have to get somebody to choose to be a Met. But my point is, that is stupid. Nobody's going to do that. Nobody. Not Uncle Steve Cohen. Not nobody is going to just say, hey, here's $49 million extra than what it would have taken for me to get you to sign this contract. Just take $49 extra million. I don't care. Nobody does that. Y'all are living in a fantasy. I don't even know. You're not even in reality anymore. If you
You're Delulu.
It's true. It's true. It's like, that's not real. I don't know.
No, it's, you know, and I get it, right? Because if you're a Met fan, you have to be excited with what your ownership is saying out there publicly, right? Because when it comes to Steve Cohen, when it comes to Alex Cohen, his wife, they're amazing people. They are amazing. I've met them. I met Alex Cohen, his wife, several times at Citi Field when I'm working there with Latino Sports. They are amazing. They treat me well. I can't complain about how the Cohen family treats Latino Sports at Citi Field. It's amazing, right? But reality is what reality is. The Yankees are worth this. The Mets are worth this. That's why I said if this was 5 years in the future, it's a different conversation because Steve Cohen would have that casino built and they could do what the Atlanta Braves do. The Atlanta Braves, that area around where the field is at, where the stadium is at, the Braves, they own that entire town. So the money that's generated from that town, from the stores, the rent from the apartment, all of that is funneled into the team to help pay for the contracts of the players in Atlanta. Atlanta is not a, you know, especially where they're at, it's not like a booming economic town and stuff like that. They have to do what they can to generate money and help pay for the team. And that's what the Mets are trying to replicate, but it's not right now. It's not there. You can't sell Juan Soto on the potential of earning from 6 years down the line. That just doesn't work out.
And the leaked information that came, and you can believe it or not, right? It's all gossip hearsay at this point, but the leaked gossip hearsay that we have from the meeting with the Yankees and Soto was not about money. It wasn't about, you know, merchandise and all this stuff, which don't get me wrong, it's important. But what was the leaked gossip and hearsay information that we got about that meeting? Juan Soto wanted to know, what other improvements are you going to make? How's the farm system looking? Talk to me about the next 5 years. Who's coming up? I want to hear about the prospects. I want to hear, and by the way, Hal and Brian and everybody else, this did not work. This did not work. This did not work. This did not work. So what are y'all going to do to assess all these defensive problems and base running problems and whatever, all these things that he detailed? Does that sound like a player that only cares about money?
No.
Because that's what everybody's out here saying. Does that sound like a player that doesn't care about winning or a legacy?
No.
Or the future of a franchise? Or does that sound like Juan Soto, who we know is not that guy? If you tell me out here, Juan Soto only cares about the bottom line, then I'm going to say you don't know Juan Soto. That's not him. Now, that being said, the Mets have a great opportunity because they do have a good farm system and they have people coming up and they've got a team and they're on the edge of that next step to become a postseason darling, okay? So they have a good position to try to get Juan Soto with all those things, just like the Yankees. Not as much as the Yankees just because we have the track record, right? Of legends, of money, of icons and la 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 la. Like they can't compete. Nobody can compete with the Yankees legends, okay, yet. But they are in a great spot. The Phillies are not in that spot. The Blue Jays are not in that spot. You know what I mean? So
I have a video that I want to share, right? And this is why it helps speaking multiple languages, right? If you guys can try to cater your social media feed to like the Dominican podcast or the Latino podcast, so you can get a different look and an insight to these athletes that we like to talk about, to the Juan Sotos, to the Fernando Tatis. I have a video from 2019 that I saw this video before of Juan Soto, and now it's circulating, and people are like, oh my God, oh my God. So I'm going to play the video, and I'll translate loosely what he's saying, but he's talking about in 2019, his teammates telling him that he's going to be a Yankee in the future, and what that means for young Latino players, Dominican players coming up. So I'm going to play this video. We're going to listen and tune in.
Cuando yo llegué a los Yankees, Diego González me dijo a mí, oye, mete mano, que ese va a ser el equipo tuyo. Y yo, ¿cómo que va a ser el equipo mío? Y, sí, mete mano, que tú nunca sabes. Y yo, no, yo voy a meter mano, yo nunca sé. Todo el mundo quiere jugar los Yankees. El sueño de mucha gente dice que no, pero mucha gente le gusta jugar los Yankees.
So what he was saying there, for those that didn't understand, he said when Gio Gonzalez, when he played against the Yankees for the first time, Gio Gonzalez was telling him, mete mano, that means go hard, like go hard. This is going to be your team in the future. And Juan Soto's like, what are you talking about? How you mean that? And Gio Gonzalez and the other teammates was like, no, this is going to be your team in the future. You need to be in a Yankees jersey. And then he flipped the conversation about how everybody coming up, everybody recognized the brand of the New York Yankees and how everybody wants to be a Yankee coming up. This is from Juan Soto in 2019. During the season, Grace, you remember, because this is something you and I talked about. After the Yankee games in the post game conference, how Juan Soto was saying out there, yeah, I'm willing to have a contract negotiation during the middle of the season. We said that a bunch of time. Him and Hal Steinbrenner was sending messages back through the media or whatever, and then Hal Steinbrenner put his foot in his mouth when he said, oh, we got to look at the payroll and recognize that a $300 million payroll is not sustainable. If you're Scott Boras, you call up Juan Soto right now. Listen, that cute shit you're doing, you cut it out, because now you're hurting us when it comes to our negotiation power. Because if you're saying in the media after every game you're willing to negotiate during the season, and the Yankees are putting out there that they need to try to cut down payroll, you're taking money out of your pockets. So now you're saying that you're willing to listen to every team that's out there so you can get the most money from the New York Yankees. Because in the middle of the season, Hal Steinbrenner said, oh, we have to pull back on the money. A $300 million payroll is not sustainable. But the past 24, 48 hours, Hal Steinbrenner said, I'm willing to match whatever. We're in a different position now than what we were last year.
Okay.
We're in a different position now than what we were last year. I'm willing to match. It's different energy going on with the negotiations.
Yeah, I mean, everything that these people say to reporters is posturing. It is nothing is said willy-nilly, right? And like I was saying a minute ago about anyone in business, but I was specifically talking about Steve Cohen offering $50 million more than the next offer. Nobody is going to go out and say, oh, how much is this car? I want to buy it. It's $30,000. Okay, here's $50,000. Thank you. I'll drive the car away. No, the car costs $30,000. I'm going to pay $30,000. I'm not just going to give you $50,000 for no reason. And if somebody is in a bidding war with me over a house, and let's say the house is $300,000 and I offer $300,000, they offer $301,000, then I come back and say $350,000. No, I'm going to say $302,000. Then they say $303,000. I say $304,000. I don't go $500,000. That doesn't make any sense. And nobody does that.
I chuckled when I heard that rumor about, and this is coming from Michael K. Shout out to Michael K. But that rumor about Steve Cohen willing to go an extra $50 million over any offer. And I laugh, right, when I heard that, right? And the reason why I laughed is while having these conversations with people keep bringing up Scott Boras and his clients never wanting to take less money. And I brought up an example of a time when a Scott Boras client who just came off one of the best postseasons of all time, young center fielder, Gold Glove center fielder by the name of Carlos Beltran, when he was a free agent after the 2004 season going into 2005, he wanted to come to the Yankees because he grew up a Yankee fan. He grew up a Bernie Williams fan. Before he signed with the Yankees, and this is why I laugh with the $50 million, before he signed with the New York Mets, he called up the New York Yankees. Scott Boras and Carlos Beltran called up and told Brian Cashman, Beltran is willing to take $50 million less to sign with the New York Yankees. Brian Cashman thought about it, said no, pivoted to trading for Randy Johnson and gave Randy Johnson that money that would have went to Carlos Beltran. So in 2004, when Carlos Beltran came off one of the best postseasons ever, legendary postseasons ever, 28, 29-year-old Gold Glove center fielder with speed, when he became a free agent, when he had Scott Boras as his client, he was willing to take $50 million less because he understood the importance of wearing a Yankees jersey over a Mets jersey.
Exactly. Garrett Cole took less to come to the Yankees. He wanted to be a Yankee. He was a Scott Boras client. Jose Altuve was a Scott Boras client. He ended up re-signing with the Astros for, well, he didn't even test the free market against Scott Boras's advice, I'm sure. You know? I mean, it does happen. I'm not saying Juan Soto. Listen, Juan Soto wants to get paid. And there's nothing wrong with that. This man is going to get paid. Okay, and nobody knows his heart. Only he knows his own heart of where he wants to be. If he let me say this, he wants the stars to align. He wants to get paid the most money and be where he wants to be and have a legacy and win World Series. Multiple.
Yep.
Now, he's going to try to make all those stars align. Where is the best opportunity for all those stars to align? But it's a very tricky negotiation process. You got to tiptoe around and you got to posture everything just right if you want all those stars to align. Now, if you're willing to settle for just two of those stars, two of the three, just two of them, then you could go multiple places. But he's not at that point yet. Right now, he's got the New York Yankees, the New York Mets, even the Los Angeles Dodgers, the Toronto Blue Jays, and the Philadelphia Phillies all interested. Oh, and the Boston Red Sox all interested in him. This man is sitting pretty right now, okay? No formal offers have been made. It's all a game right now, okay? But he's going to try to get the best of all situations. He doesn't have to settle for anything yet. So we'll see how it plays out.
Also, too, like, I get the argument of the Yankees shouldn't just put $60 million into one player. We have different holes that we have to fill. I get that sentiment because it's true. The Yankees, they do have holes that they have to fill. The last time the Yankees were in this type of situation, 10 years ago, crazy, 10 years fly, Grace. But the last time the Yankees were in this type of predicament, Robinson Cano was a free agent. Robinson Cano signed with the Seattle Mariners, took, I think, $75 million more. And his career turned into what it was in Seattle. We already know we don't got to revisit that.
That devastated me, by the way, Hector. I know we didn't know each other at the time.
I was heartbroken. At the time.
Me too.
But Yankee fans at the time said, that's good. We could take that money instead of giving it to Robinson Cano. We could spread that and we could use that to fill up, right? Some player spots. And we did that. Do you want to know what the who the four players were that the Yankees got? You want to know? You want to know who the four players were? Brian McCann, Carlos Beltran, Jacoby Ellsbury, and Kevin fucking Youkilis.
Oh no!
Those were the four players that we got to substitute Robinson Cano. Again, those four guys that I mentioned were phenomenal players at one time in their career, right?
Yeah.
Right. All stars, MVPs, right? But when you look at it, at this free agency pool, right? Is Christian Walker better than what Jacoby Ellsbury was when he hit free agency off of an MVP season? No. Was Anthony Santander as good as Carlos Beltran who helped get the St. Louis Cardinals to the postseason that year, hitting well over 300?
No, with respect, no.
So what are we doing here, guys? Like, again, respect to the guys that are free agents, right? Because like I've been saying, they have more talent in their pinky nail than I would in my entire body when it comes to playing baseball, right? I'm not a baseball player. I'm not an athlete like they are. They are leaps and bounds ahead of me. Christian Walker is 33 years old. You would take him out of Arizona, which is conducive to power hitting. It is a hitter's friendly ballpark. It's just like Colorado. I fear that if we go out there and give Christian Walker a 3-year deal, Christian Walker will turn into the 2024 version of Michael Kadire. When the New York Mets got to the World Series in 2015 and they lost in free agency, they signed Michael Kadire, and Michael Kadire was a black hole for the Mets when it comes to their payroll and when it comes to their roster construction. I do not want the Yankees to have that situation. If we go out there and sign Christian Walker, who is 33 years old, who peaked and had 3 good seasons at 30, 31, 32, and 33. Those are his 3 great seasons in his 30s. Do you guys expect Christian Walker to get better as he turns 34, 35, and 36? I don't. No. So I want to stay far away from Christian Walker.
Excuse me. I think he turns 34 before next season, by the way, too. Mm-hmm. I do believe. Let me see here. I'm not sure about it. 33 years old. Okay, I don't know. I don't have it written down, but that's in my brain somewhere. Yeah, no, I mean, if he did, he'd be a scientific marvel, because that doesn't happen. That's not the way that your body goes, and unfortunately, it's not personal. It's just a fact.
Yeah, and I was going to say, now, if you ask me, like TC did, who plays first base, I would rather give that shot to Carlos Santana. He's a veteran first baseman, 1-year deal, switch hitter, has some power, 1-year deal, Carlos Santana. I'll take that. I'll take that. And and in the middle of the season, if we got to go out there and get somebody, we go out there and get somebody. I don't want to lock up Christian Walker for 3 years because of his age and the decline. The Yankees need to get younger. It makes no sense to let Juan Soto walk, who is 26 years old, to bring in 3 players who are 33, 32, 31 years old. How is that getting younger, and how is that getting better?
Yeah, I totally agree. First base is a quagmire to me. I don't know. And I don't have a feel on what do you like?
No, TC LeMay Poo. I think there's an avenue that Ben Rice is our backup catcher, and he could sporadically play first base when we need to. I can see that happening, but I don't think Ben Rice would be the everyday first baseman. I think the Yankees see him more as a backup catcher, somebody who's versatile and could play first base here or there. But yeah, I rather Carlos Santana.
Did you hear the rumor Jason161 put out yesterday that the Yankees were in trade negotiations with the Rays for their closer? Oh my God, I can't remember his name now.
Pete Fairbanks? Fairbanks?
Yeah, Pete Fairbanks. What do you think about that? Now, I don't know who they're shopping the trade. But I remember during the trade deadline, or like right around the trade deadline,
I wanted Fairbanks and I wanted Yandy Diaz.
Yeah, you wanted him, and the Rays were interested in Lombard Jr., correct? I'm trying to remember. I think
Lombard Jr. I am not giving up Lombard Jr. I am not giving up Lombard. Lombard Jr. was a kid that went in the first round out of high school. He was projected. He had a verbal agreement to go to Vanderbilt. Everybody said if he went to Vanderbilt, he would have been a top 5 draft pick in the next draft. In the next 5 picks, the Yankees were able to get him late in the first round because he grew up a Yankee fan. Right. Okay. And this is why it's so important to make young kids Yankee fans. So when they're about to get drafted, they do exactly what George Lombard did. Instead of going to Vanderbilt, he said, you know what? I'm going to go to the New York Yankees because that was my childhood team. That's the team that I rooted for growing up. I know if I go to Vanderbilt, I'll be a top 5 pick next year, but I won't be on the New York Yankees. And he decided to go that route out of high school.
Yeah. That's what Anthony Volpe did, and that's what Garrett Cole originally agreed to do as well. He ended up changing his mind and getting a college degree. Went
to college. But the Yankees drafted him, and he was going to be a Yankee, but he went back to college.
Yep. It is important. You're right. That's a great point that you bring up.
Yeah.
But I do remember the Rays were interested in Lombard. So I don't know who they're shopping to trade. There's rumors going around that the Yankees might be shopping Jason Dominguez. I really can't see them doing that until or if when they sign Soto. I don't know what I will not believe that they trade Jason Dominguez before Soto signs somewhere. I can't believe that. Maybe Spencer Jones. Maybe they're shopping Spencer around. I wouldn't hate that.
Yeah, and
I'm
like
just gonna keep it real.
Jason just put it in the chat right there. Jason Custodio. Shout out to Jason C. You have to play 3 years if you go to college to play, unless you go to a JUCO school. So that's why a lot of the times, players that are coming out of college, they come out at a very late, like 22 to 21, and then they have to go 3 or 4 years in the minors, and they get called up. That's what happened to Aaron Judge, his rookie year, 25, 26 years old. Well, and this is the one thing that irritated me. Hearing people on dubs, and shout out to the folks on WFAN. Keith McPherson is my guy. This has nothing to do with Keith, but the callers calling in saying that to let Juan Soto go. Listen to this lunacy, saying they would rather have Bobby Witt Jr. over Juan Soto. Bobby Witt Jr. is just 2 years younger than Juan Soto. Bobby Witt Jr. has been in the big leagues for 3 years. Last year was the first time he hit over 270 in the big leagues. Juan Soto's been doing this since he was a teenager. Again, I get it. He's not a Gold Glove outfielder. He's not Mickey Mantle. He's not Willie Mays. He's not Mike Trout. I get that. I understand that. But for people to fix their lips and say that he's not great, that's what I have an issue with. Grace, people calling up and saying he's just a slower version of Bobby Abreu. Again, no shade to Bobby Abreu, an amazing major league player. Juan Soto is worlds ahead of Bobby Abreu. I'm sorry. When you put in the plate discipline, when you put in the power numbers, when you put in the average being 280, he has a 285 lifetime average. In 2024, if you have anybody coming close to a 300 batting average, they're an all-star. What are we talking about?
He hasn't even hit his prime yet. Baseball prime is your late 20s, early 30, like 30, 31. That's like your prime. 28 to 31. That's like the prime. Am I wrong for sluggers? No. Am I wrong?
No.
He hasn't even got there yet, y'all. Whoever signs this contract coming up, and it's probably going to have an opt-out, right? Maybe a 4-year, after 4-year opt-out. But this contract right now, that whoever he signs with is going to get his prime years, 27 to 31. That is this is the time. This is the time. And Steinbrenner knows that. Cohen knows that. Everybody knows that. Yeah. That's why everybody's in on this. Okay.
And if you're the Yankees, if you want to put opt-out clauses, put opt-out clauses. Put as many opt-out clauses as you want. If he opts out in 5 years, Aaron Judge will be close to the end of his contract. If he opts out and he decides to go somewhere else, we start the rebuild. In 5 years, when Juan Soto's 31 years old, that's totally fine. But there is no way that I can sit back and respect people saying that Juan Soto's not good. He doesn't deserve it. Now, I get it. Maybe some people are jaded at the fact that athletes are making this amount of money, right? 500, 600 million. If you're upset that athletes are getting paid that much money and you get paid what you get paid for your job, I understand that. I can feel for that, right? As somebody that is pro-labor, pro-union, I do understand that. But to fix your lips and say that he does not deserve to get that money, the owners deserve just to keep it. I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to figure it out, because when the one thing you can do, if you go out there and if you sign Juan Soto for the next 10 to 14 years, you can guarantee he's going to be in the top 3 jersey sales for the next 10, 15 years. The next 10, 15 years, your jersey, the Yankees jersey, the Mets jersey, the Dodgers jersey will be top 3 in jersey sales just because of Juan Soto.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and it's just like everybody talking about I'm not trying to, talk about things that aren't having to do with baseball, but if you have a business and you have a CEO, let's say Walmart, I don't know, that's the first business that came to mind. Walmart is making billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars of profit every year, but they're still paying their workers, $8 an hour or whatever it is. And everybody's like, hey, share the wealth. If you are making billions, you should raise the amount that you give your employees, right? That's what everybody thinks is fair. That's what everybody wants. Well, that's what we're talking about with baseball. If the owners are making billions and billions, whatever, however much money, what's wrong with sharing it with the players who are helping them make that money? It's only right. It's only right. They are the reason that these franchises are making all this money, right? Yeah. So why wouldn't they get a piece of that? What's wrong with that?
I want to take a pause real quick. It's 11:55. We got over 150 people watching us collectively. We love each and every one of you guys. If you're on Twitter, if you're on Facebook, on Instagram, click the link in the bio. Jump on over to YouTube. Shout out to everybody on Instagram. If you're on YouTube, smack that like button. We have over 60 people watching us on YouTube. Let's try to get the likes to as close as we can to 50. So just smack that like button. Let's get the likes up to 50. Shout out to Joe Shane in the building. JST is in the building. Mikey Perez is still rocking out with us. Sunil's in the building. Who else is here? L.I. Yankee King. Now, the argument about Juan Soto being moved from the outfield to first base, right? I know a lot of people like to beat up on my guy L.I. Yankee King, who's in the chat. Shout out to L.I. Yankee King. That I love that guy. Always will. When it comes to that conversation, when L.I. Yankee King first says it, I know Yankee fans, they'll see that and be like, this dude's an idiot. What is he talking about? And they'll just toss it to the side, right? But when you look at baseball and you look at players moving out of positions, it's not that big of a stretch to say maybe Juan Soto could move to first base, right? I know he played the 7 years he's been in the big leagues in the outfield, right? But there have been players, superstar players that were shortstop that got moved to the outfield, were an outfielder that got moved to first base. Cody Bellinger is somebody of recent memory. He came up with the Dodgers as an outfielder. Of course, injuries happen, and now he's a first baseman. Bryce Harper, another guy, was in the outfield for the majority of his career, and the Phillies put him at first base. The man won a Gold Glove, and people say, oh, well, that was out of necessity. Well, if the Yankees re-sign Juan Soto, that would be out of necessity because you want Aaron Judge to be in right field, right? Two players that I want to mention that started out in the outfield and was moved to first base in their career. Albert Pujols started his career playing left field with the St. Louis Cardinals because they had Tino Martinez at first base. The next year, they moved him over to first base. Miguel Cabrera, his rookie year, started in left field because they had Mike Lowe at third base. The next year, they moved Miguel Cabrera to third base. Now, do I think that that's what the Yankees going to do? No, I don't think the Yankees are going to make Juan Soto first baseman. I don't think Juan Soto is going to turn into Mark Teixeira. But to say it's not realistic, I can't say that it's not realistic because anything can happen, right? When I'm at Yankee Stadium and doing the warm-ups, stuff like that, working media, Trent Grisham is taking ground balls at first base. Aaron Judge is taking ground balls at first base. Juan Soto is taking ground balls at first base. So to say it's not realistic, I can't say it's not 100% realistic when I'm seeing the guys taking ground balls and taking fielding practice at first base. If it wasn't realistic, why the hell is Aaron Judge practicing first base ground balls? That's the one thing I want to say.
Yeah. I don't know what their long-term vision is for first base, for Aaron Judge, for, we know that Giancarlo is the DH and he's got that spot for at least the next couple of years. And then who they envision. You know what? To be quite honest, I don't even know if they have a long-term vision because things always pop up. The injuries always happen, and it's pointless. It is a little bit pointless to think about 3, 4, or 5 years down the road when you got to worry about all these moving parts for right now and next year. I think they try to stay in this year, next year, and that's it. If you ask them about 3, 4 years, I don't think they even really worry about that because they don't have the bandwidth, I don't think. It's pointless. But I just don't want DJ LeMahieu at first base. I mean it. I'm sorry. I'm not trashing DJ. You know, everybody knows. We all loved DJ. What's happened to him has been heartbreaking, honestly. Yeah. Nobody wanted to see this. Nobody is out there, you know, booing DJ LeMahieu because he's not trying and he's a, you know, whatever. But he can't be the first base solution. No. He cannot be the first base solution. No. I mean, I'd rather see John Birdie at first base than DJ LeMahieu. Yeah. I'm just keeping it real.
Like I don't know what value DJ LeMahieu brings to you in 2025 going forward, because we saw towards the end of 2024, DJ LeMahieu was a liability defensively out there. So he didn't give you anything offensively, and he became a liability on the defensive side of things, right? Listen, like you said, what happened to DJ LeMahieu, sad. Injuries happen, especially hips. And I've been saying this, once your hips go in baseball, your career is shot. And when DJ LeMahieu re-signed with the Yankees, and not even a week later, it was announced that he was having hip surgery, I saw all the red flags that I needed to see. DJ LeMahieu, one thing I'm going to say is prepare yourself. 2025, you the new punching bag. Glaber was the punching bag last year. Aaron Hicks was the punching bag the year before. Joey Gallo and Gary Sanchez was the punching bags a couple of seasons before that. Get ready, DJ LeMahieu. You will be the target of Yankee fans next year, because when it comes to Giancarlo Stanton and his contract, at least Giancarlo Stanton showed up in the postseason. Giancarlo Stanton, he brought himself time when it comes to the new. I'm happy. I'm okay with Giancarlo Stanton being the DH. I get it. He's not athletic, one-dimensional, home run or bust. I get that. I understand that. His performance in the postseason brought him some life with as a New York Yankee. DJ LeMahieu, don't even see it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great point. I think there's going to be some heat on the captain this year too. I think people are upset. I think the Yankees fans are heartbroken over what happened in the World Series, and not only the World Series, but the entire postseason with Aaron Judge. Yeah. And I think that narrative is going to carry over for maybe one of the first times to Aaron Judge, but him dropping that ball in Game 5, y'all, we will never forget him dropping that ball in Game 5. We will never forget his strikeouts. Yeah. We will never forget, you know, all these things that he did, at least not next year. Maybe, you know what? Winning cures all. So if you come out, you start winning, right? You know, it takes a lot of pressure off you, but right now I think there's a lot of pressure on Aaron Judge as well. And oh man, it sucks. There's nothing you can do about it.
When it comes to Judge, right? And this is where it's a tricky situation, because when Yankee fans booed A-Rod for not performing in the postseason, one, it was justifiable because of the performance, but two, I think it was easier for Yankee fans to do it because he didn't come up through the Yankee system, right? Yeah. With Dave Winfield, when he struggled in the postseason, it was easy for Yankee fans to boo him because he was a free agent that the Yankees brought in.
Right.
Aaron Judge came through the system. I don't remember the last time the Yankees had a player that was homegrown that they booed like relentlessly. Like when it's guys that are from outside the organization, the Alex Rodriguez, you know, Jacoby Ellsbury, you know, when it's that, we gonna boo and we gonna let you have it. But when it's our players, our homegrown guys, we are normally protective of them. We normally fight other people for talking about them. Like, listen, there's a Tyler Wade fan club still out there in the New York Yankees universe, right? And that's for a reason. Our guys, we like to fight for our guys. And I don't remember the last time the Yankees had a player that was homegrown that the Yankee fans just gave it to them. I don't remember.
I mean, I know that technically Glaber was a trade, but that's kind of the closest to coming up and being a young kid and everybody's attached
to you. But even still,
and
he was a trade, right? We got him from the Cubs.
Technically. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, but I think that I'm not saying no. Everyone loves Aaron Judge, but that's why they're so upset, because they love him and because what happened was so hard to take.
Like Medina right here says that drop ball by Judge in that infamous fifth inning will be the lasting image in my mind for a very, very long time. And it sucks because for the past 2 seasons, Judge in center field, that was the first and only error he ever had in center. That's what's so mind-boggling about it. It's because 9 times out of 10, you expect Aaron Judge to make that play 9 times out of 10. That was the first error he had in 2 years.
Oh, it sucks. It sucks so bad.
Oh, man.
Highest strikeout numbers in history. In history of baseball, Aaron Judge in the postseason with 200 plate appearances qualifying. Highest ever. I mean, you can't argue with the numbers. And I love Aaron Judge. I have my little, framed picture of Aaron Judge right here. I mean, I love Aaron Judge. He's our captain. Like, I'm backing him. I want him to be awesome. I want him to be the best. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. But, man, it stings right now. It stings.
It stings, right? But ultimately, I think the moment it eventually happens, because I'm never going to say it's not going to happen, the moment Aaron Judge is able to hoist up that trophy, it will make it so much sweeter. It will make it so much sweeter. I know we're struggling. We're going through it. It's what have you done for me lately? But eventually, Aaron Judge will be able to hoist that trophy. But on the flip side, if Aaron Judge does not get a championship in his time with the New York Yankees, Aaron Judge may go down as the biggest disappointment in Yankee history. It sucks to say it. It sucks to say the guy that can hit 58 home runs, 62 home runs in a season. It sucks to say that he will be the biggest disappointment, especially when you look at the legacy of Yankee captains. Has there been a Yankees captain who's never won a championship? I don't think this happened.
Yeah.
I think every Yankee captain has won a championship.
Yeah. Mattingly never won.
Well, Mattingly never won. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, no, that Mattingly. So you got it. So he would join.
But that's his legacy, Hector. But you're right. That's what everybody says.
Never winning a championship.
Yep. It's he was a great Yankee, but he never won a championship, and he didn't get in the Hall of Fame, right? I mean,
and I know there's some some TC Stills, big Don Mattingly fan. Him and his brother, I know they're big diehard Don Mattingly fans. I want to ask you, Grace. And this is, again, more shade towards the New York Mets. But I want to ask you, Grace.
Finally.
Before we get out of here, I said this on TikTok and some Met fans got upset at me. I said that more people remembers Don Mattingly's time with the New York Yankees than they do Mike Piazza's time with the New York Mets. Am I off base by saying that?
No, because Piazza, he bounced around a little bit, and
his best seasons were with the Dodgers, not with the New York Mets.
There you go. Exactly.
And there were 3 years in a row, 3 or 4 years that Don Mattingly was considered the best player in baseball.
Yeah, everybody loves him. He was so consistent. He was such a classy, consistent guy. He was about his business and didn't run his mouth and everything like that, right? He was a standout kind of guy like that. But till his horrible back injury. What?
No, I was gonna say, guys, if we can't, Stephen B in the chat, nothing crazy. But Stephen B just said, our guy CT Cards. If you guys know in the chat. CT Cards is, going through a medical issue right now. So if you guys can, thoughts and prayers for CT Cards. CT Cards is normally in the comment section. So Stephen B, I know you followed me on TikTok. Shoot me a message. CT Cards, I hope you're doing well. Positive energies, prayers for me. Everybody in the chat, throw your prayers for our homie CT Cards. Like I said, CT Cards is in the chat for every show. Every show, CT Cards is in the building. And when I didn't see him this morning, I didn't want to mention it. But Stephen, thank you for putting it in the chat. But guys, put some thoughts and prayers for CT Cards in the building. Honestly, they great people. They've been following us for a long time, very supportive. So thoughts and prayers with them. Sorry, Grace. Sorry about that.
No, absolutely. We're a family, and we love every single one of y'all. And so yeah, stuff way more important than talking about baseball. So
yeah, so we're gonna get ready to wrap things up, right? And as we get out of here, right, just know, Yankee fans, we love each and every one of you. We all may not agree when it comes to our takes, when it comes to our opinions on this team, but the one thing we can agree on is our fandom. We love the New York Yankees. We love to root for this team. Even though Brian Cashman and Aaron Boone gives us agita, we still love to scream at them. So I appreciate all of you Yankee fans. I want to play this video, and then me and Grace are out of here. I'll come back so we can say bye. But let's have some positive energy. Positive energy, Yankee fans.
Strom was having some trouble with the pitch count. So the offense is really deserved. That's why they're 500.
Yeah, and they played a tough schedule recently. I mean, they won 2 out of 3 from Milwaukee, who they're chasing in the division. And they go to Milwaukee, and they can hear also.
Juan Soto, this season was amazing, my guy, and I look forward to many more. Danny in the chat with the 199 super chat. Danny says, Grace and Hector, you guys are awesome. Salute, salute, salute. Danny, appreciate you. And the beautiful look at that profile pic. That's a beautiful family in that profile pic. Danny, appreciate you. Thank you for helping us keep the lights on. And until next time, I'm Hector.
I'm Grace Monroe.
This is Yankees Morning Brew. Damien wanted to be here. Damien just, worked, just kept him busy. He couldn't be here, but Damien said he will be on the next show. And until next time, people, we love you. Oh, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to end it with, this is the clip from our Knicks show that debuting later on today. So watch this and be back later on, 6:30, Knicks and Fuego. We out of here.
Roki Sasaki. Putaria, zanungueo. Is out in the night, paying it for it and it don't matter the price. Boom boom more than out here moving so right. Get shaking tonight, dama todo rulay. If you know me, then you know that I would never deny. That's right. Tengo mi terio and I will show you tonight. So the putaria has my future so bright, bringing it to the light. Un foqueo rulay. I said this tape is not for ignorant babosos. Steady rep that 718. Melting pot that done made me famoso. That's from New York City, verdadero sancocho. Invoco al ongumbale yo, me monto y me da.
You fought well yesterday. Your style is unorthodox.
Scorpio.